Welcome back to the Corgi YouTube channel. Simon, thanks for joining me again.
It's always a pleasure, as you know.
What we got today is some more Corgis. It's been a while since they've been on the channel.
Yeah, I see they covered a little bit dust.
They are a little bit dusty, thank you very much. It's atmospheric dust.
You know, all this dust.
Oh yeah, okay, we'll see. Simon's bringing us 1,000 suns if you didn't pick up on that. So what we have here is a Vanguard detachment full of Terminators, as you can tell. The headquarters is a librarian. His warlord trait is Storm of Fire. So if I roll 6s to wound, it's an additional -1 to AP. Okay. And that should stack really well with the Storm Bolters throwing out a ton of shots now with the beta rule for bolt weapons when it comes to Marines and Chaos Marines. He also has the Tomo Malkador, which will give him a 3rd psychic power. I've gone mostly defensive here, choosing to go with Veil of Time. And then also Psychic Fortress, because I know you're going to be smiting the heck out of me. And then Null Zone, if you want to bring the fight to me. Take care of those invul saves that you might have. Supporting him, we have 4 units of Terminators. 2 of them are the classic Terminators with the Storm Bolters. 1 guy in each of those has a Chain Fist, which comes forward from 5th edition. I'm not sure they're really great in 8th edition, but that's what's on the model, so that's what we're going with. And then a Typhoon missile launcher on this squad here, and an assault cannon on the squad over there. And then I have 2 units of assault Terminators. The sergeants both have the dual lightning claws. This squad over here has 3 Thunder Hammers, while that squad over there has 2 Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields.
Well, there's a Storm Shields, good. So you just have 2 Storm Shields here, yes?
Yep, 2 on the left and then 3 on the right.
Okay.
Then we have a aviation air detachment to come along with it. Now we have 2 Storm Talons, which I think are pretty good. These guys will be rocking the dual assault cannons and the Typhoon missile launchers. Okay. And then for a cheaper option, I went with the Stormhawk Interceptor. Now it is very good against other flyers. I know you don't have a flyer for your troops, but you do have the Flying Demon Prince that has been known to show up from time to time. And so I'm bringing it along as a cheaper option. It has 2 assault cannons on the wings, a Skyhammer missiles, and Icarus Storm Cannon. So all in all, it can be pretty tough for you, I hope. Just a shout out to my guys who got this for me at my last job. This was my going away present, which was pretty unusual, but I love it. And this is going to be the first time it makes an appearance on the channel.
So we will see how we perform the first time.
So it is 1,500 points. Putting all this together gave me 1,430, so I was searching around for what to do with an extra 70, and I settled on an Eversur Assassin and an auxiliary support detachment. Now that's the one who is the close combat type. Doesn't do a whole lot of shenanigans, but he can really mix it up in close combat. Obviously the auxiliary support detachment cost me a command point. I don't have a lot of command points to begin with, but that's okay because none of this stuff really needs command points. There's no stratagems that really help me out there, other than the Raven Guard infiltration stratagem, which I'll be rocking because everything here is Raven Guard.
And the -1 to hit, which is quite good actually.
Yeah, the War Corgis since their inception have been Raven Guard. So I'm sticking with it. Maybe not the best choice for Terminators, but we're going to see how it works out today. I think it's going to be okay between the infiltration and the -1 to hit. And so that's going to leave me with 4 command points as we get ready to play our next ITC mission. Any questions on this one?
No, actually, this list is actually quite straightforward. Actually, you have your two big hammers, some support. Yeah, it's straightforward.
Some anti-horde firepower, some anti-vehicle firepower. It's got a little bit of everything, and I think the flyers will be able to block out some areas for me maybe. And these things going into hover is going to make up for my lack of skill in playing with flyers to make sure I don't accidentally fly them off the board. So
yeah, I mean the only one problem what you probably will have is that you don't have chaff.
I do not have chaff.
So yeah, so board control will be a little bit more difficult for you than me probably.
Yeah, but I'm hoping to make you make some tough decisions when it comes to those ITC secondaries, which can be a little tricksy sometimes. And it's going to be tough to kill some of these units. So. Alright, let's come back and take a look at the 1,000 Suns next.
So guys, we are back now. Now is coming my army list, as I already mentioned before. I'm coming with my 1,000 Suns. I'm rocking today a battalion, and I'm toying with 7 command points because I will have 1 additional relic. So I start first with my HQ choices. The typical standard Demon Prince. He is the Warlord, has otherworldly presence, so he has a 3-up invulnerable, and his psychic powers are despite Smite is Gaze of Fate for the nice rerolls, and Diabolic Strength to buff him or something else. Then the second guy, the Disc guy, he mentioned it already before. He's barebone with a Force Staff, and has, despite Smite, he has Prescience and Warp Time.
Those 2 must be aware of my Stormhawk Interceptor.
Yes.
I will intercept them greatly.
Maybe, maybe not, we will see. Everything depends on the position. And my third choice is today a Sorcerer in Terminator armor, obviously with Mark of Zinj and everything. He has a Force Axe and a Combi Plasma. So he will rocking 4 shots of Plasma. And his psychic abilities are Defex, removing invulns, and a Boon of Mutation. So Boon of Mutation is like, okay, you cast it, or you can use a CP, and then you roll the mutation type table, and hopefully you don't get spawned to. So this is like, okay, we'll see what I will do, but probably it means to buff up the Demon Prince.
So Defex is going to be interesting against my army, because anything greater than AP -2 in this list?
Yes.
Okay.
The Soul Reapers.
Okay.
So everything
Go
is AP2?
Yeah.
But the Soul Reapers are AP3. Okay, so the relics are on him is the Helm of Third Eye, meaning command point regaining, just 1 per turn on a 5-up. And Dark Matter Crystal for which technically, because now I read the FAQ, that you can actually warp time after you use Dark Matter Crystal, because it's not written there that you deep strike them.
Okay.
So you can actually use Dark Matter Crystal, for example, on the on the Stangors, and you can warp time them.
Comment below if you disagree.
So yeah, as my troop choices, I have regular Chaff, 11 Zangors, no Brayhorn, nothing, just for Chaff or flanking or whatever duty I will see fit for them. Then another troop choices, I have my standard loadout of Marines, Verbics, with Soul Reaper cannons. Obviously no Icon of Flame, because the 5 points is not worth it. I modeled it on that one, it's looking great, but I still don't think that I use 5 point, and then you have to be in 12-inch range, and then maybe on a 6+ you get the mortal wound. That's not the case.
And the Soul Reapers are AP -3.
Yes, strength 5.
Okay.
4 shots. Okay, and as a lead choice, I have 3 lead choices. Here in the middle, my Terminator, Scarab Occult Terminators, with Soul Reaper Cannon, Power Swords, and Inferno Combi Bolters. The psychic ability of this guy will be Weaver of Fates, increasing the invulnerable save. And in the back I have my 2 typical Contemptor Dreadnoughts with Claws and Butcher Cannons.
Right.
Yes, I was thinking about using maybe the Ectoplasma Cannon, but I was actually thinking you bring 3 Predators.
That's what I've run in the past, right?
Yeah, exactly, and that's why I thought I would have at least some small amount of anti-vehicle, because we lack this one quite as a Thousand Suns. So yeah, that's my list. It's 1500 exactly on the nose, and yeah. So also these guys don't have Warp Flame pistols, nothing there. So yeah.
Okay, I think you got a very efficient Thousand Suns list. It's definitely going to test my all Terminator Corgi list. But we'll come back with the scenario and see if I can't steal a victory, because it's been a little while since I won.
Yes.
All right.
I think you have a losing streak now.
I do. It doesn't happen much on this channel.
Yes, I mean since the last 2-3 games, something.
Let's say 2. Alright, we'll see what we can do today. Today we're playing ITC Mission Scenario number 4, What's Yours is Mine. It involves 5 objectives. One is placed here in the center. And then I had to place one in my deployment zone. I'm going to be the even numbers here, 2. And then place one in Simon's deployment zone, 4. While Simon placed 3 in his deployment zone, and 5 over my deployment zone. Now, normal ITC rules for scoring objectives, but you get the bonus objective if you control both of the objectives you placed on the table. So you're going to have to spread out your forces in order to get that bonus. Looking at the table, real quick, we have some ruins over here on the right, and as usual, we play the Sky Shield landing platform as a ruin as well. We have some line of sight blocking terrain with these buildings, which you cannot enter, along with the cargo containers that you see here. And then lastly, we have the bridge crossing the river as usual, -2 to charge through. That's the only effect it has on the game. We also have a number of craters, which will give infantry, of course, the +1 cover save. Deployment is Vanguard, and Simon started out by deploying first. Simon, you want to take us over what we got?
Okay, so on the left flank we start with Zangers as protection of the flank. In this left flank center we have first the rubrics on the objective you placed, and Contemptor. In the center we have Demon Prince, Exalted on disc, and Sorcerer in Terminator. Behind as a cover, Zangers, and on the right flank we have in front rubrics plus the Contemptors. And
of course the Scarab Assault Terminators are in reserve. Over on my side, the right flank is anchored by the Assault Cannon Terminator squad there. Both these squads of Assault Terminators have played Strike from the Shadows as their infantry. They're going to be able to make a 9-inch move after we determine who goes first, before the first turn. And the last squad with the missile launcher back here is holding down my left flank, and then I have my 3 birds, my 3 little birds, over here on the left. Now, as far as mission objectives are concerned, the ITC secondaries as they're called, I have chosen Recon, hoping to make use of the mobility of these 3 birds, and I should mention both my Librarian and my Assassin are in Deep Strike Reserve. I've chosen Big Game Hunter, and that's going to be Simon's Demon Prince as a creature, and his 2 Contemptor Dreadnoughts, and then I've chosen Marked for Death, which is going to be the 2 Rubric squads. This squad is Zangers and Simon's Terminators. Simon has chosen Kingslayer, trying to get my Librarian. He's chosen Marked for Death, and it's going to be all 4 Terminator units. Of course, if he gets all 4 Terminator units and the Marked for the Kingslayer, he will win, because I can't win with just the Flyers. And lastly, Big Game Hunter on the 3 Flyers. I think that about covers it, Simon. We are ready to roll to see who goes first. I just edged you out there, so I will get a +1 here. To my 2 becomes a 3. You have a 5. What would you like to do?
I will go first this time.
Prior to the game, my Terminators have moved up towards the center, objective number 1, saying, "Come at me, Simon, and your 1,000 suns." So, with that, we're ready to begin Simon's turn 1. So we'll be back after his movement phase. Simon's done moving. He moved 1 unit.
Yeah, I just one move. It was the Zangers. I advanced them for 9 inches. It's not totally 9 inches, but I just moved them back here. Everything else stays put.
Presumably protecting them as they're marked for death.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go to your psychic phase next. Simon has worked out psychic powers. We'll go ahead and do this on camera, buddy.
Okay, so I start with Gaze of Fate.
Okay.
On the Demon Prince himself. So it's a 4. He needs a 6.
Ain't gonna do it.
He ain't gonna do it, but I have a command point. Shall I reroll this one for that one?
Doesn't that just give you another reroll?
Yes.
It's kind of pointless, isn't it? I
It
guess
is pointless actually. Okay, so I'll keep it. So Smite in, because this is probably the nearest unit.
in line of sight, yes.
In line of sight.
Okay.
So I'm smiting that one. I need a 4 or better. It's a 10.
Okay.
So D3 mortal wounds.
Of course.
For a whopping 3 mortal wounds.
Right.
So 1 guy is gone. And 1 is wounded.
Okay.
Okay. Then Baby Smite into that unit. He's also needs
same unit, yep.
4. He's a 6, so one more Terminator is done.
Okay.
So I cast Prescience from this guy into this unit.
Okay.
7 or 6? 7. It's a 9, so they have a +1 now. I just remove it.
This is unusual for you, Simon. All your psychic powers going off.
Yeah, because particularly that I don't have Gaze of Fate for a reroll for this my ability or my tendency to blow up myself.
Yeah. Okay.
And Smite into that unit because you can just see that one.
Yep.
It's a 9.
So that's 1 point of damage.
D3 damage because he's exalted.
Okay, yeah.
For 1 point of damage.
Okay, I'm going to take it on a lightning claw.
Okay. And this guy is casting Boon of Mutation on the Demon Prince.
Okay.
He's getting with a 6. He gets it or not? No, he doesn't get it.
Hooray.
And Smite into that unit.
Okay.
It's coming. D3.
Yep.
For 2 more. So
Okay.
one is dead, one is wounded.
So I'm going to put the other wound on another lightning claw.
Yes. And Glamour of Zinj from this unit on themselves.
Okay.
For -1 to hit modifier. He needs a 7, I assume. No, yes, he needs a 7 to 8, so they have a -1 to hit penalty.
Okay, that should be it for them, yes?
Yes, so we are going straight to the shooting phase then.
Okay. So as you can see, fairly effective shooting rounds. Simon, you want to take us through it?
Yeah, so essentially everything what I got was shooting at both Terminator squads. In the end, with the help of this unit of rubrics, I destroyed these Terminators here, which gave me 1 kill point plus mark for death. And yeah, the Butcher Cannon and the Combi Bolter didn't do any more wounds on this guy. So that's everything what I got. It was quite effective, I would say, even though the -1 to hit penalty.
Yeah, I would agree. Going first really matters in this game still. But right now you have 3 points to my 0. We'll see if I can come back and do some damage and start crippling your army as well. The War Corgis are done advancing for their first turn. These guys have moved out of the crater. They're still within 3 inches of the objective and now within 24 inches of those rubrics over there. This Typhoon Missile Launcher Terminator has moved, so he has line of sight to Simon's Contemptor Dreadnought back there. And then all 3 birds have moved up on my left side, keeping range away from the Demon Prince, at least a good deal of range. And getting ready to do some shooting. So let's start there. Fairly lackluster shooting phase for the Corgis, as this unit here poured in a bunch of shots with the new bolter roll, but did no damage to the rubrics over there. While 4 of the missiles went into the Contemptor Dreadnought, didn't do any damage, didn't even wound them, unfortunately. They did get some help from the Typhoon Missile Launcher Terminator in that he got 3 wounds through. And originally rolled 2 on the damage, so I used my last command point to reroll that for a 3. These 2 little birds did some work on the Zangers, doing a total of 6 with their assault cannons. Simon made some really good saves there, and then the Stormhawk Interceptor threw everything into the 2 squads there. First killing 2 of the rubrics with his assault cannons, and then doing no damage to the Contemptor Dreadnought. So at that point, Simon, you do need to roll your morale for your Zangers.
I lost 6, they have lower leadership 7, so anything but a 1.
That's a 3, so you lose an additional 2 there.
Yes.
Okay, so as far as scoring goes, I didn't kill any, but I do hold 1 objective, and I hold more objectives. So that's going to net me a total of 2 points. Simon, you're going to get a point because you killed more this round. So the score going into turn 2 will be 4-2 favor you. Quick update, after rechecking, I do have recon at this point, as these Terminators are just across the half-inch line, or the halfway line. So that's going to net me a 3rd point. So scores 4-3 favor Simon. All right, Simon, turn to move.
Okay, so as you can see, again, not a lot of movement. I just moved up the Stangers here, advanced a little bit to the back line. Just moved the Demon Prince a little bit into this direction. Exalted to get line of sight for smiting for these guys over there, and he got also there for for a possible death hex if they should survive the smiting.
Okay, and then you brought your
yes, Terminators also quite defensively. I put them here next to the rubrics to secure that flank.
Okay, so that should be it. We'll go on to your psychic phase next.
So guys, we are here at psychic phase, the most important phase of my Thousand Suns. So I start with Gaze of Fate, needing 6 here on my Demon Prince for reroll. Again, I don't get it.
He does not like that.
He doesn't like that for any reason. I removed this also, and then smiting into this gunship here.
Yep.
So needing a 4, which he does.
Why does he get the +1? It's normally a 5 for smite.
Yes, and I had a 5.
Yeah, I'm just asking you. Say he needs a 4, so I was curious.
No, sorry.
So he needs a 5.
He needs a 5.
Okay. So he makes it.
He makes it D3.
Yeah.
For 2.
I'll take it down to 8 wounds.
It's 2. Okay. This guy is putting pressions on this rubrics over here. Needing a 7. Is not coming. Then they smite into that one.
Baby smite.
Baby smite. It's coming.
Yep. So that does 1, right?
Yes, 1 just.
Take it on the sergeant.
And he also will smite then there.
Okay.
He's getting also,
Mm-hmm.
but D3 this time. I'm hoping for a 3. And I get it.
Okay.
And now Glamour of Zinj from this unit on this Contemptor is not coming. They have psychic problems today. Looks like.
No problems killing corgis.
And yeah, Boon of Mutation on the Demon Prince with a 6, and he doesn't get it again.
Okay.
And I'm putting Death Hex into this Terminator.
Okay. That's a 1.
And the 5.
That's not going to be enough.
Nope. So yeah, and we were of fates on themselves. Peril, I use a command point.
Okay. It's still perils. Wow, this is going to help. Okay.
So he gets Weaver of Fates.
So D3 damage.
To himself.
Yes.
And when he kills himself, then...
If he does kill himself, it will expand beyond that. Let's kill him. Yes. Okay, we're going to do a quick rules check and we'll come back with that.
So we double checked it.
Yes.
And it's looking gross for me.
Yes.
D3 on this one. For 1. Yeah. And D3 on the Contemptor. For 2, so he's down to 5. Oh. Poor boy. So yeah, and 1 wound on the Terminator because he lost 3.
Yes. Okay.
That was not good at all.
So you lose a Terminator half and I lose 2 Terminators. Alright, so that's the way it's going to be. On to your shooting phase. Alright, Simon, take us through your shooting phase.
Yeah, as it started in the psychic phase, it went over to the to the shooting phase. I just actually managed to kill with my whole firepower these 3 Terminators, stripping off their 1 wound, and I think stripping off 7 wounds here.
Yes.
So that was everything. So
actually 9 wounds there. He's down to 1 wound.
Okay, 9 wounds. So you can see that if the buffs are not coming through and you're exploding yourself, it quite cripples you.
It does. But as far as score is concerned, you do hold at least 1 objective, and you have killed at least 1 unit. So you are going to get 2 points for that, and the unit was marked for death, so that's a 3rd point. So the score going into the bottom of round 2 is going to be 7 points to you. Corgi sitting at 3. Corgi turn 2 coming up next. So the War Corgis have moved up, and they are just within 3 inches of objective number 1, and have closed the gap between Simon's huge castle back there and ourselves. The Wounded Jet has remained in place, as has those Terminators, while the Stormhawk Interceptor has moved up its 20 inches, and then the other Storm Talon has moved clear across the board at this point, looking to get some shots in. Dropping at the end of turn is the Eversur Assassin back there, just 9 inches, over 9 inches away from the Zangers. And then my Librarian is dropped back here in order to capture objective 2 for me. So at the end of the turn, we'll at least control 3 objectives and hopefully kill some things with our shooting powers. Before we start shooting, I did cast Psychic Fortress from my Librarian. You see he has a wound. That's because he rolled double 6s, just to make sure Simon couldn't deny me. So now that flyer right there, each time it suffers a mortal wound on a 4+, that wound will be ignored. So all that smite's been killing my Terminators. Perhaps leaving the Librarian in reserve was a mistake. Shooting phase went better. Starting with these Terminators, they opened up at Simon's rubrics over there, killing 3, correct?
Yes, 3.
And then over here with the missile launcher, managed to take out the nasty Dreadnought. It did not explode. Unfortunately, this did not contribute much to the fight, and neither did the Interceptor here. Simon made some good saves on his rubrics, I will say. Over on the side, failed to hit with the missiles, shooting it at the other Contemptor, but I did shoot the twin assault cannons and killed 3 Zangers, which wiped out the squad. So in the end, I killed 2 of Simon's units versus the 1 he did to me, so that is good news for me. Going into the assault phase, I will be charging the Eversur into those unfortunate Zangers. Hopefully unfortunate. The Assassin did his job, rolling 3d6. He ended up with a 14, charging headlong into the Zangers, staying out of the water, of course. Well, he could have gone there if he wanted to. And when he got in there, he did 8 hits, 7 wounds with the reroll. I'm sorry, he did 7 hits, 7 wounds with the reroll. Simon made 2 saves, so it means he failed 5. Then he got slapped back by the Zangors, who get to reroll to hit against characters, which helped out a little bit with the Relic Hunter rule. So they did 2 wounds back to him after he saved 1 of the 3. So, Simon, you owe me a morale check there, having lost 5.
So I need a 2 or
6.
So 2 more are leaving.
4 works. I'm okay with 4. Okay. So with that, I will get 5 points. I'm going to get my points for recon again. I get 1 point for killing the Dreadnought, Big Game Hunter. I killed more units than Simon, and I hold more objectives than Simon at this point. So the score is now 9-7. I think Simon still has control of the board, but we'll see if the Corgis can hang on and continue to fight like they do. It's been a very enjoyable game so far, huh?
Yeah, indeed.
All right, we'll come back with the turn 3 for the Thousand Suns.
Okay, so my movement phase was a little bit more than usual when I did the previous turns before. So the one thing what I did is just moved out the Demon Prince over here for getting the charge into this guy who is annoying me a little bit now. And yes, Exalted just moved up in a way that he can give his bubble reroll aura, and he's nearer to this for smiting this guy over here. And the Terminator Sorcerer is coming for the Reverser with his 4 sacks. Zangors stay in close combat, and the rest stay put.
Okay, let's go to your Psychic phase next. Simon is done with his divinations and has settled on a plan here for his psychic powers. Let's go, buddy.
So I hope this time Zinch will give it, not like the first time before.
Can't be worse, right?
Yeah. So Gaze of Fate, a 3rd time, tried to attempt on a 6. Yeah, he got it.
With an 11.
With an 11. And now he has a reroll essentially and smiting into that gunship over here.
And a 5.
So it's a 9.
Okay.
For
2 wounds.
2 wounds.
Okay. Well, yep. So he is down to 8.
Down to 8. Then baby smite into this guy over here on a 5. Yup. So 1 mortal wound. You can nullify it down for plus.
Yes.
Do. Okay. Terminator guy. Death hex on the Evazor.
Okay.
So removing his invuln.
Mm-hmm. I like it. No.
So it's a 5.
Yes.
I need a 8.
Mm-hmm.
So the chances are not bad actually to try it.
1 in 3 chance.
Yes,
That
but I have 2 rerolls essentially. 1 for free, 1 for
that is true.
for a command point, and I have still enough. So 1 in 3 chance. Let's go for it. Yes, he does.
Well done.
So now he doesn't have a invulnerable, and so Gaze of Fate is done, and smite into him as well.
Peril.
5 D3 for free.
Alright, so he's got 1 wound left. No one is happier than you that you got the Brotherhood of Psychers roll after the beta.
Oh yeah, I love it.
You
and the
needed
Grey
it.
Knight.
Yeah, you needed it. So did they.
And yeah, rubrics. A Glamour of Zinj on the Terminators.
Okay.
5 they don't do.
No.
Then Prescience from this Exalted into this rubrics on a 7. Nope. Or shall I reroll that? Shall I reroll that? No, because then someone can explode again. No, I rolled it for a command point. What doesn't matter. And he gained it 7. So they are Prescience now, finally. And smite into this guy.
Okay.
Nope. So
Alright.
that was my psychic.
So we'll go ahead and mark those wounds off, and we'll be back after his shooting phase. Simon has finished up his shooting. Let's go over what you did there, buddy.
Yeah, essentially a lot of shooting. Terminator split up a little bit fire into that Terminators, but I think it was 8 combi bolter shots into the Terminators, you saved them.
Yes.
Also, I was not hitting very good, so the -1 hit modifier is really working out here.
From time to time, it's been inconsistently helpful.
Then the Hellfire Resurrect destroyed this gunship over here, and the shooting over here, I think it did stripped 1 wound. Maybe.
1 wound, yeah. That was with the...
and then the rubies were shooting into that Terminators. Pistols from these guys were shooting in that Terminators. Nothing doing there. The rubrics finished off the remaining 3 Terminators.
Did 10 wounds to him. It was an impressive show.
Yeah, that was a really impressive show.
That was just with the bolters, not even the...
And so Reaper was not assigned. It was also to shot, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then I had to shoot at this guy with the butcher cannon and stripped away, I think, 2 wounds just.
Yep, 2 with the butcher cannon and 1 with the combi bolter.
And 1 with the combi bolter, yeah. So that was the shooting at all. So now we go to the charge phase.
All right. Big round for Simon here as he scores 5 points. Let's go through what we did on first, buddy.
On the charge phase, yes.
Yeah.
So I charged the gunship barely with a 5.
Yep.
Counting into it towards with the -2 because of flying. And yes, this guy also barely charged, but I had to reuse command point for reroll, so he was then in. And in a fight phase, the Demon Prince destroyed that gunship and consolidated the trenches towards the closest enemy unit, which will be that one. So in that case, the sorcerer killed the Everser, and unfortunately this fallout thing,
Bio meltdown,
stripped away 3 wounds on that guy. Sorry, I have to mark that one. And yes, he also consolidated.
splattered himself all over your dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so Simon ended up killing, I think, 4 units that turn. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's going to be hard for me to kill more units than him. It's just going to be tough for me at this point. But we're going to play on as we go into the War Corgis bomb at turn 3 next. Okay, in the movement phase, I've moved my librarian back behind this building because I'm not going to be able to capture more objectives than Simon here. I've given you more objectives, so look at that.
Yes.
Poor play. I need more practice. And I moved my flyer over here. And lastly, I repositioned those Terminators so they all have a shot at his Terminators. So let's have a Terminator and Terminator fight. With that said, we're going to see if I can get Psychic Fortress off on my Terminators over there.
If I might to throw in something.
Yeah, go ahead.
You did actually the one smart thing. I mean, yeah, you offered me the 1 point for more objectives. But if you want to move this guy out of there, rubrics.
Yeah, I mean,
will shoot him to pieces.
Yeah, so at this point, I'm just trying to gain points if this was an ITC tournament. So I'm going to cast Psychic Fortress here. Goes off on a 5. I've rolled a 6.
Where you're casting?
He's casting from here, so you can check the range to see if anybody's within 24.
I don't think so. The only one would be this guy.
And he's going to be a bit far, I think.
A bit far, yes.
Okay, so they will have a Psychic Fortress. All right, with that, we're going to go into the shooting phase to see if I can take down a Demon Prince. That's his one job. One job, guy. Okay, shooting over here with my Terminators. They did a pretty good job. Bolter is stripping the last wound off of the one that was already wounded before the missiles fired in. Getting 2 hits, 2 wounds. Simon did make 1 5-up save. Ended up killing 2 of the Terminators, which is a pretty good trade. Over here, so close. As I opened up with the Assault Cannons first, did 2 wounds to the Demon Prince. He has that 3-up invul save. So the Icarus Cannon did nothing to him as Simon made all those saves. But then the Skyhammer missiles...
double ones, Snake Eyes.
Yeah, 2 hits, 2 wounds, and I think 3 hits, 2 wounds. Simon rolled double Snake Eyes, so if I could have rolled 5s and 6s there, I could have killed him instead. I only did 4 wounds to him, so he's got 2 left. At that point, I only get 1 point for holding an objective. I didn't kill anything. I no longer get recon. So the score is going to be 14-10 after Simon picks up an extra point for killing more.
10 or 12?
For me?
For me, 12. I think I made like something like...
You had 12 at the end of the last turn, then you picked up 2 more.
Yeah.
So 14.
14 to 10.
Yeah, 14 to 10. Because he picked up 1 for holding more objectives after I abandoned this one, and he picked up 1 for killing more by a lot. So, Simon, I think at this point I will concede if you're okay with that.
I'm fine.
Your Demon Prince might eat it on Overwatch, but I certainly don't have the resources to
because
come
I
back.
have still temporal manipulation on this guy. I could heal him up.
Oh, and that too. Okay, so if you're cool with it, I'm gonna call it a game here. I've learned a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Congratulations. Solid victory for the Thousand Suns over the Imperium's finest, the War Corgi Space Marine chapter. So we'll be back with a wrap-up after this. Another exciting game, ITC mission format.
As I said at the beginning, it will be 3 losses.
Yeah, at least I have to go back and look. Been playing too much Star Wars Legion. More on that later. So, just to explain to everybody who's watching, not familiar with the ITC format. So, as I conceded at the end of the turn 3, Simon would continue to add points to his overall tournament score. You would score 4 points because you have more than enough units to make all the mission objectives. And then you would gain any remaining secondaries left to you. So you would have gotten all the units for Marked for Death. You would have gotten Warlord. So you would have really kicked my butt here. Scoring for me 10 points, and then if I played it out, I might have gotten another 2 if I was lucky. But we know where this game was going. So let's start with the War Corgis. They haven't been on the channel for a while.
Yeah, finally they have been on the channel.
Yeah, they're back. I had a lot of fun playing with them, and I think there's something in this list.
It is. I mean, it is kinda a fun list for this game. But as we already discussed through the game, if you would add a battalion of Militarum just for the bodies,
yes,
you would have a screen, and that would actually help out.
It was the turn 1 smite attack.
Yeah.
That really did me in. I lost way too many of my Assault Terminators to smite alone to let them continue on as a threat. They were no longer a threat after the first turn.
No.
You throw some cheap bodies out there, of course, that's the best way to defend against smite. Make sure that your good, expensive units who have nice armor saves aren't taking those automatic mortal wounds. But I didn't do that today. As you mentioned, this was a really bad matchup against 1,000 Suns, especially. We don't list tailor against each other, so this was just a list that's been popping around in my mind for a little while. I want to run it. I obviously picked the wrong assassin. If I would use the Colexis, we've seen what they do to 1,000 Suns before. They're very successful, but I didn't want to be gamey like that. But in retrospect, I probably should have been a little bit more gamey.
I think overall you played well. Just one thing what we also discussed about off camera already, or the one debatable thing was that you infiltrated. I mean, when you're getting turn 2, or you're going second, I was actually thinking that you will try to hide your Terminators, but instead you infiltrated towards the objective. I mean, I can understand the move, but I mean, you just got maybe 2 additional points for that one, losing, I think, 3 squads of Terminators.
Yeah, so interesting. And with Chapter Proof 2 coming out, and more so the FAQ number 2 for this year, it changed the way Raven Guard do their strike from the shadows. You still have to pay the CP when you deploy the unit. But before, you could keep them off the board and place them anywhere outside of 9 inches. Now, when you pay that CP, you also have to put them on the board. So you're committing that CP before you even know whether or not you're going first, and you lose the flexibility of putting them anywhere on the table because they're already set. And the only thing you can do at that point is move them 9 inches. So not only did I get a nerf in not being able to go all the way up to start the game 9 inches from you, which I think is probably a good change on GW's part, but now I'm doubly in because I don't have the flexibility I used to have. So a couple other things I could have done differently from the start. Number one, my librarian probably should have started on the board.
I think so. I think so because I just smited you left and right, and you didn't have any even possibility to deny this one.
Yeah. That's a big part of it, and you know, I went with a really defensive build for psychic powers. He could have certainly helped there, not just denying powers, but given the power I was using pretty effectively out earlier than I did. I was thinking with this Storm of Fire I was going to be able to drop them down somewhere near these Storm Talons, and with all their shots be able to help them out, but it just didn't work out that way, and it was probably a bad decision on my part. The other thing, I probably could have played much cagier with my flyers. Now, you have 3 Storm Talons, that gets much easier because they got hover mode. Like you said, I could have played a little bit more cat and mouse with you and kept those on the flanks of you.
Yes. With
all that firepower. As soon as I bring in the Stormhawk Interceptor, though, that thing does not have hover mode. So eventually, I got to push it back towards your Demon Prince, and your Demon Prince will eventually eat it. So I could have played cagier with that, especially with the little tweaks to the list. So I'm going to look at it because I did have a lot of fun playing with it, and I think there is some potential there.
I think there's definitely some potential, particularly through the Bolter Battle Rule now, buffing up Terminators. And I think the only thing we're just paying 1,500 points, so standard would be 750 normally. For 250 points, you could easily field a battalion of guardsmen, conscripts, or something.
5 CPs.
So 5 more CPs, and you have a screen.
Yeah.
And I think this list has potential, but you have to work around a little more about that one, or try more things.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to lose the assassins, of course, because I can only have 3 detachments, but yeah, I'm going to play with it because it was a lot of fun. So. Your list. I think, you know, over the last 2 years of playing this game, 8th edition's coming up on 2 years now, right?
Yeah.
It's really come along quite well. It's much different from what you started with, and I think you're definitely a much stronger 1,000 Suns player now with what you're running than you used to be.
Yes, of course. I obviously gaming here with you. It's like a training, obviously, reading stuff, watching battle reports. Well, obviously a lot of lists are putting like Magnus, Everyman, and some other nasty stuff, but that's not...
Never want to do that, yeah.
Never want to do that. And the thing is, I mean, my list was designed like, okay, I know he's playing Raven Guard like-ish, so I was actually assuming that he will bring some combat power, close combat power.
Yeah.
So that's why I have taken the Zangers as... because there's nothing more worse that happens to your rubrics if they are locked in combat. I mean, they match one weapon, I don't care, I still get my 2-up save, yes? But when they don't shoot, it's over.
Yes.
And that's why I fielded them today, because I was expecting something like that. You surprised me, obviously. Because I was thinking at the beginning to put in like a flank protection, not going straight forward to something, just getting shot to pieces. No, just flank protection. If something is coming on there along, just then getting out the rubrics and then throwing inside the Zangers. Contemptors are always doing their job, mostly.
Yeah, absolutely. Great unit.
Soaking up firepower, dealing there and there wounds. Terminators, I think they didn't perform well because they blow up themselves. If I wouldn't blow up them, they could be much more, or they probably did do much more. But when I lost my Sorcerer and Weaver's Fate, so this is reducing their...
You played them really defensively too, so they weren't going to do a whole lot from where they were at.
Of course,
yeah.
Because still there were 3 flyers on the table, so I didn't want it to give you a room that you can zoom around and just shoot at my HQs, because my HQs are my force multipliers.
And you were winning the game at that point, right? So you could afford to play them defensively. You didn't have to take any big chances with them like I had to with my Assassin.
I mean, the thing is, as we said already several times on this channel, when it's going Marines, or even a Terminator heavy list, and you're playing against Thousand Suns, it's an uphill battle for you, because when there are rubrics and also skyrocketal Terminators with the new beta bolter rule plus their Inferno combi bolters, the AP -2 or AP -3 on the Soul Reaper cannon is making the difference.
Arguably, no faction benefits more from the new bolter rules than the Thousand Suns.
Definitely.
They have the best bolters in the game.
Yeah, so when you use bolters with them, you can go defensively. Also, why I'm trying more playing defensively with Thousand Suns is also because their movement is kind of handicapped. So that's why I'm trying to play most defensively. Okay, I knew I have to give up some points. That was clear for me. I mean, either you would, instead of infiltrating to the center objective, you would maybe infiltrate somewhere to hide yourself. Then it would be like, okay, a shootout, kinda. But that would be at that point a 50-50 shootout. Because of that one, because you have these 3 flyers, and they have a lot of amount of shots, which could, with some better rolls, turn the tide also for you, if you would go for a shootout.
Yeah.
Yeah, Demon Prince is always nasty as he is.
Yeah. I think everything else kind of speaks for itself. I overestimated my Terminator's ability to survive, especially with the number of smites that they suffered, and I think that's what cost me. So we'll do better next time.
I think. Well, you're facing Thousand Suns. That's when you're coming with Terminators or very light units, and you don't have a screen. That's bad for you. So if you would play against something else, Death Guard or whatever other Chaos faction or whatever other thing.
Just not the Imperial Fist, man, those guys are tough.
Yeah, not the Imperial Fist. Particularly if they're rolling hard in the first round.
Yeah, that's always so.
I think you could win this easily also, but against Thousand Suns with that amount of smites, it's quite hard.
Yep, I'm interested to see where we go with this. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. We're going to be producing plenty more, so if you haven't subscribed yet, we do ask that you subscribe. We've been having a goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers. We're almost there. You could be the person that puts us over the top, and we'd really appreciate that.
We would do.
If you're already subscribed and you like the video, please make sure you give us a thumbs up. That lets us know that we're doing a good job and we need to continue doing this. And if you have specific criticism for us, we're always open to that as well.
Exactly. And Jake, sorry. Death to the False Emperor. We made it again.
Miss you, Jake.
Miss
All right.
you too.
We'll catch you guys later on the next battle report. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, guys.